Alright, welcome back. Just had a crash, but alright, we're going to start this again. This is the Vengeance video. Finally, we're here with Season 5. I'm going to be testing Vengeance out. I am using the Between Walls item pack, so thanks to Between Walls for updating for Season 5 so quickly. You can see it's a little bit buggy with Plug Y, but if you monkey around with it, you can see all the new items. It's all here, so thanks a lot for that. We're going to be looking at Vengeance. So Vengeance has been reworked. It has this new AoE effect that as you hit target, it does this AoE, which will do all of your elemental plus damage. So examples of things that count for that are like 1 to 50 lightning damage on charms. Corpseborn has a bunch of fire damage. Anything like that. Things that don't count is everything else. So you would think that Holy Fire would count or something, but no, it doesn't. It's only things from items and charms. It also buffs that damage by 200% if it's, we're level 24 right here. So um, I've tested a few things. The highest damage output is not to max combat skills or vengeance. It is in fact to just stack as much elemental damage as possible. So that's what we're doing with this build. We're maxing vengeance. It's got 4 synergies, so this is a very late game build. The first thing you want to max is conviction because this is your active aura, and then you can max any of the 3 shocks. You can see that it doesn't matter. It all just does elemental damage, so it's not like adding a holy fire or a holy freeze will change what type of element. It adds all of them no matter what. You want 1 point down to holy shield and 1 point in joust. Everything else is strictly for synergies. In terms of the stats over here, we are looking at having enough strength for your gear, around 200 dex for block chance, and the rest in vitality. And of course, that's all well and good. So there's a couple new changes that have been added. Some of them are not working on the Plug Y yet, so that's fine. One of the issues is battle orders and battle commands don't work, and it kind of crashes the game sometimes, so I'm not going to cast it. But yeah, first thing I want to look at is the Merc here. The Merc is really interesting. So we're using the Merc from Act 3, and we're using the one that gives us prayer, because prayer gives you, well, let's take a look what prayer gives you. Slowly regenerates your life for you and your party, and grants them life from melee attacks. So you're going to get life on hit. This is very important because we're not doing any physical damage with this build. We're just doing elemental damage, so we do want to have some life gain back. So we're actually getting life on hit now, which is like a Diablo 3 stat. So the prayer aura is the cold one, so that's who you want. And also these Act 3 mercs, you can stack the most amount of auras on them. As for us, this is really good. So we're going to be running Lightsaber for the Resist Lightning aura. We're going to be using the new Flickering Flame Helm for the Resist Fire aura. These are going to, number 1, give us a bunch of resistances, and number 2, it's going to buff our fire and lightning damage. Then we're going to give it the Might aura, because why not? And then let's give it an Exile, because why not? We want Defiance aura as well. So the rest of the gear is to give him strength, because he's got low strength. And then we've put a Hell rune inside of our Templar's Might, so that it's lowered the strength requirement. Not totally needed, but that's a typical setup for your Merc. So getting a ton of auras here, 5 auras from our Merc, and we're running our own conviction, so it's kind of insane how strong this is. Another quick thing I want to note is I used a Lilith's Mirror on a Famine. I didn't know this, but if you look at the hilt of the sword, it kind of changes, so that's kind of neat. I like that. Yeah, let's jump into the build. So the best weapon for us is obviously going to be Famine. Famine has tri-elemental damage and tri-elemental enemy resistances, so we're going to get a lot of Pierce. We're getting ignores target defense. We're getting our damage that we want, and it's great in the Phase Blade. Phase Blade has requirement of 54 IAS to hit the breakpoint. There's a couple ways to do that. Best armor in the game for this build is the Corpseborn, simply because it has the highest amount of elemental damage on any piece. You can see we've crashed again here, so I'm gonna just run again. Seems to happen with that map I was in, but it's kind of to be expected right now. Brand new season, so yeah, corpse spawn. I've slammed I've put a socket in here. Obviously, you want to get as many sockets as you can, and add faucets. Or in this case, I added a 15% all resist and 15% attack speed jewel, so I can hit the cap. The best shield for us is Tiamat's Rebuke. You might think, oh, why don't you use that new shield they added? But it's around the same damage. We don't need Ignores Target Defense because we get it from our sword. And this one actually has all resist on it, which is going to really help us out. And it does the same amount of damage with the tri-elemental damage. Slam as many faucets into this as you can. We're using the brand new boots. These are great. They have 40 to 80 cold damage. This is the most amount of elemental damage you can get on boots, so these are perfect for the build. They also regenerate mana. Vengeance is pretty heavy in the mana department. Yeah, not bad. The other stats don't really matter. We're going to be running Snow Clash because it has a bunch of cold resist, and more importantly, it has this cold damage, 39 to 63. The other stats are irrelevant. We're going to be running a Stone of Jordan and a Ravenfrost. Both of these have elemental damage on them. This one has cold, and Stone of Jordan has 1 to 20 lightning. We're going to be running Lava Goats to give ourselves enchant, and also to proc enchant to enchant all of our all of our reanimates from our corpse morn. It also has fire damage and, more importantly, 20% attack speed. So if you don't need the attack speed for whatever reason, you will switch these out for Hellmelt for more fire damage. But we need the attack speed. As for the helmet, I went with Vamp Gaze. Vamp Gaze has some cold damage built into it. It also has dual leech, which is going to help, and it also has some defensive properties like magic damage taken reduced and physical damage taken reduced. Slam faucets in here. We'll be using Rising Sun. This has the highest amount of fire damage and also fire pierce, so that's really great. Other stats are irrelevant. And yeah, that's kind of the idea here. You're just looking to get damage, like elemental damage. It's kind of weird when you look at it, like this is a weird build, but trust me, this is the highest damage output you can get. You don't want to just focus on one element either. You want to focus on at least 2 and 3 if you can. That way, if you come across immunes, you're not shooting yourself in the foot. On the swap, Call to Arms and Haas is best to have, but I can't test this right now because it's crashing, but that's fine. There's one other weapon you can use that you might be interested in before you can get yourself a famine. It's the Paladin Star. So this thing has the same tri-elemental damage on it. It doesn't have Ignore Target's Defense. So if you're using the Paladin Star, you will swap out the Tiamat with the new shield that has Ignore Target Defense on it. And yeah, other than that, it's kind of shit. It's a Devil Star, so Devil Stars have really slow attack speed. So if you're using the Paladin Star, you will swap out for a High Lords. Now, High Lords is fine because it's giving you lightning damage. You're missing out on the Fire Pierce at this point. You get 1 to all skills to make up for it. But yeah, you can't hit the attack speed cap with this stupid star because it's like 250 for Paladin. But anyway, that's your budget option until you have a famine. As for charms, we want to have a torch and an Annie. And then we want to, because we're going to be, because we have Flickering Flame and we have Lightsaber, we don't have to worry about our fire resist or our lightning resist too much. We just want cold and poison. And because we have so much on the Snow Clash, it really just comes down to needing poison resist charms and maybe a couple all resist. You can see here our lightning is like we're capped, like we don't need all this stuff, but the plug Y hasn't given me any more charms to use. But basically you want to fill your inventory with the best elemental damage charms you can find with a mix of cold, fire, and lightning. And then these new, obviously best in slot ones would be these, which are going to be doing increasing the elemental damage and as well as giving you a source of that damage. These will be very pricey to find, and I don't think you'll be able to get a full inventory of them because of how rare they'll be and because of how niche they are. But obviously fill your whole inventory with these charms. They really add a ton of damage to the build. Like half my damage is almost just from the charms, so do not skimp out on the charms. And don't go for skillers. The skillers don't really do anything. And you don't have to use small charms. You can use grand charms or large charms, whatever you can find, basically. So yeah, that's it for the build. Let's take a look at the final core stats here. We have mana leech, we have life leech. We are not doing any physical stuff like critical strike or open wounds or deadly strike. If you wanted to do that, you could put on some gore riders for bosses, but this is not a build that's good at killing bosses. This is a build that is good at clearing maps, so keep that in mind. We have a lot of elemental pierce going on for all three. That's great, and some mastery, so that's great too. Getting those higher would be nice, but this is all we can do right now. And yeah, like I said, we're not going to be running into immunes because we're running our own conviction aura, which is going to pretty much break most immunities for us all the time. And yeah, let's try it out now. So I'm gonna need a map here again. And yeah, this one looks fine. So it's probably gonna crash when we go in here again, but I'm just gonna come in here quickly and try to kill some stuff. As you can see, pretty much one-shot packs. We're back to that type of gameplay here. And the chaining effect doesn't always hit, but when it does, it's really awesome because it'll spread to the whole pack of enemies. You can see enchant just went off. No, our dude's got enchanted. We end up having quite a big army of skeletons here because of the corpse mourn. We do get a lot of slow going on because we do have the frost. What do you call it? The frost mercenary casting blizzard. And of course all of our auras are going to apply to our skeletons as well, so they're actually not that shitty. They're pretty slow, which is lame. If we had Vigor aura, that would be cool, but we just don't. But if you take a look at the vengeance damage going out, it's extremely impressive. So the sheet damage is 6.5 to 16k. It would be a little bit higher than that if we use battle orders, but we can't, so it's fine. Yeah, you're kind of like one-shotting packs. If the mobs are nice and tight, it's even better. So there's a little bit of nuance to it. You can kind of round them up like that. Holy shit. Yeah, this is extremely strong, and this is what I'll be playing. And there's the treasure goblin dude. Let's go hit him. Just give me Zachram orbs. That's cool. But yeah, you can see the power of this build. We are, resistance capped. We have a ton of auras. Our defense is extremely high. We have like summons just passively being summoned. You don't have to worry about any immunities. Our kill speed is extremely high. We have the prayer aura, so we're getting life on hit. It's the perfect build. This is it, guys. It's also extremely cheap. A lot of this shit is like dog shit, easy to find, like a Snow Clash that isn't perfect. Like you can get the worst Snow Clash possible. You just want cold resist really. Corpse Mourn is like people just don't even pick those up. They just destroy them. Vamp Gazes are really cheap. They're like not even an Umrune usually. and you don't even really need the vamp gaze, but it's just nice to have. The rings and ammies might be a little expensive. The shield is free, gloves are free. More than half of the items in the build are in fact free. So the issue is going to be getting the charms, because it's hard to find the charms on the trade site because they're hard to search for, and also people don't pick them up or know that they're valuable. And yeah, so we're going to be fighting the Cow Queen now. You can see damage is not that good, but it's not terrible either. It's getting chunked down, but it's slower than a lot of other builds. So yeah, here it is, Vengeance Paladin. Extremely strong. They're gonna nerf it. They hate Paladin, so they're just gonna nerf it. I know it. So don't get your hopes up for too long, but yeah, this is just as strong as Dragon Den was in season 2 and 1. So another treasure fallen. That's cool. And crash. So there you go. That's the Vengeance Paladin, guys.